Good afternoon, my name is Colton Rankin. I've been in 4-H for 6 years, and I have done many projects in 4-H, such as rabbits, cavies, pheasants for JML, and this year I'm doing team leadership and graphic arts. Public speaking is an important skill for 4-H, and today I want to do a presentation on how to do a presentation. I'll be talking about all the different types of presentations, such as illustrated talks, prepared speeches, educational displays, PowerPoints, performances, and demonstrations. The first thing of doing a presentation is to pick your topic for your presentation. A good thing is to try to pick a subject that you know something about, that you can talk about. Although with today's internet resources, it is very easy to do research on a topic that you do not know a lot about. If you want to receive a district medal for your project area, you have to do at least one public presentation in each project area. So if I was doing a steer project, I would need to do a steer public presentation to receive the steer district medal. Last year, I did 8 public presentations. I did 1 TV interview about raising chickens in the city, and I did 1 radio interview about the Alaska State Livestock Contest. Next, I'll be talking to you about the different types of public presentations. What I just did was an example of a prepared speech, and now I will do my illustrated talk. As you know, there are many different types of public presentations, such as the example of prepared speech I just did. There's also illustrated talks, demonstrations, where the presenter shows the judge how to do something, talent shared, where the presenter would recite poetry or perform a traditional dance for the judge. There's also PowerPoint, which is a lot like an illustrated talk because it uses individual slides instead of using the body of the board. PowerPoint, up here, this is an example of my PowerPoint, is a great way to get a modern looking presentation instead of using a board. PowerPoint is used a lot in 4-H and is, as I said, they're a lot like an illustrated talk. PowerPoint is on the computer, so it makes making the presentation a lot easier than this. It normally takes me about 3 days to gather all my information to do a presentation, about 1 day to type it out, and then another day to format, where I can do a PowerPoint very quickly on the computer. Now, I'm going to tell you about making the body of your presentation. The body of the presentation is the written body of it. You need to make sure that you have enough information for a 3 to 5 minute presentation. A clover bud is a 3 to 5 minute presentation. A junior is 5 to 7 minute presentation. An intermediate, such as myself, needs a 7 to 10 minute presentation. And a senior needs 10 to 15 minutes. For every minute that you are under, the judges have to chop off 1 point off your total score. And if there's more than 1 judge, that can be multiple points off your score. If your presentation is over the allotted time, that has to be 1 point off your score also. When you are writing the body of your presentation, you want to make sure that you have 3 parts. The introduction, which I've already given to you, the body, which I'm doing right now, and the conclusion, which I will get to. When you are writing the body of your presentation, you need to make sure that you have good grammar and good sentence structure. I once lost 5 points on a presentation when I made a grammatical mistake. Because of that, I lost 5 points. This board has a lot of information, as you may notice. As another example presentation, this board was also an educational display at the Camp Peninsula Educational Display Contest. Now I'm going to talk to you about making the board, which is the face of your presentation, so you want to make sure that your face of the presentation is pretty. So you want to make sure that your board is in good shape, that it's not damaged in any way, shape, or form. You also need to make sure that all your information fits on your board. Because if I had chosen to use a slightly smaller board, my information may not fit on a smaller board. When I'm cutting my information to fit it on my board, I like to use a paper cutter. Paper cutters make things much faster cutting, and it greatly reduces the time and also makes your cuts straight and more accurate. For my matting paper, I like to use a 1/2 inch margin because I think it frames it very nicely. Although on my title of my presentation, I did 1/4 inch margins. You may notice that I'm using a trifold board. That is just one of the ways you can use to frame your information on. I like my boards to be black. I think it frames it much better. That is my personal opinion. But sometimes if I can't find a black board, I have to buy a white board and it will spray paint it black. You can see down here my 2 pictures. One is of a white board that has very small margins and that's not formatted very good. The other is of a black board where I used a paper cutter and I used it to frame it very well, and I used 1/2 inch margins. Now I'm going to be talking to you about giving a presentation. Even if you have an awesome board, if your actual giving the presentation isn't good, then your overall score will not be good. Because giving the presentation for 50% of the points that the presenter can get. Public speaking is a very important skill that 4-H has taught me, and I will use it for things that you'll need in my future, such as future presentations, job interviews, and writing up resumes. The parts of the presentation that are judged is the introduction, the body of the presentation, which is all the information I have on my board, the equipment used, which would be my board and my PowerPoint example, my workmanship and the area that is kept clean, so that'd be my table, which I need to keep it clean. And the presenter is judged on their appearance. So they need to be knowledgeable of their subject. They need to wear nice clothes and look neat. They need to make sure that their hair is neat. And they also need to make sure that there's no gum in their mouth and to be stand straight and poised and speak their words clearly. That is a picture of me presenting at the last state livestock contest. The presentation was about beef low, which is a cross between a bison and a beef cattle. This presentation was my favorite presentation of last year. I knew nothing of the subject, but I did very well. I got a score of 99.5 out of 100, and I took first place at the last state livestock contest. So today, I've taught you about choosing the topic of your presentation, that you can try to find something that you know a little bit about, but it's very easy to gather information on the internet. The different types of presentations, which are IllustratedTalk, prepared speech, educational displays, PowerPoint, performances, and demonstrations. Making the body of your presentation, which you want to make sure you have enough information. Making the board, you want to make sure that the face of your presentation is pretty. And giving the presentation, so you want to make sure that you know your stuff and that you're very knowledgeable and that your appearance is neat. This concludes my presentation. Are there any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
You said that you did the Beefalo presentation for the first time.
Yes.
How much did you practice to actually get a score that good?
I practiced a lot. I think it took me a week of gathering information, and it took me 4 or 5 days to format my board. And I practiced a lot. I practiced probably every day for probably a week to get it right.
And I saw your presentation on Channel 2 News about the chickens. What do you prefer, something that you've practiced or just an interview? Which did you like best?
They both have their advantages. When you have your presentation, you're allowed to practice, and that makes it easier. Where with an interview, you really don't know what's coming, and that also adds the excitement to it. And I was knowledgeable in the chicken interview, so it wasn't really anything new for me.
Do you have any advice for people? Because what I see sometimes with presentations is there's and ah and how do you encourage yourself or other people to not do that?
Practice. You want to practice your presentation. You want to run through it with some people looking at you, and you want it to be timed so you have the correct amount of time. Are there any more questions? Then this concludes my presentation. Thank you for listening.